My humble prostrations at the lotus feet of her beloved Amma, Chancellor of the Namadeva Vishwavidyapitham. This is the 9th session, the series of deliberations on this webinar on NEP 2020. And our guest of honor is Dr. P. Ravindranath. My humble pranams to Ravi sir.
Thank you, sir.
So I take this opportunity to introduce you to the participants. Most of us know more about you because you have been serving us for quite some time as an adjunct faculty, and even you're guiding one of our PhD students also. For the benefit of all the other participants, I take this opportunity to introduce you. Dr. P. Ravindranath is the principal consultant of a major advertising and branding company called R.K. Swamy BBDO Private Limited. Dr. Ravindranath is a marketing professional with more than 3 decades of experience in marketing and brand consultancy. He has extensive experience with big corporates in branding communication like FCB Ulka, MA Bhosal, and R.K. Swamy BBDO. The 3 leading brand consulting companies having worldwide network. That too, he worked in the senior positions like the branch head, regional head, vice president, principal consultant, and director on the board of management. During his long career in this brand communication, he has handled many national and international assignments for his clients. And this helped him to gain in-depth knowledge on various product categories and brands. He had a short stint with the Business India Group, the well-known media house, as their regional head. Dr. Ravindranath holds an MSc and PG diploma from the University of Kerala and MBA from the Cochin University of Science and Technology. Later, he took his PhD while serving the BBDO Associates. He took his PhD in the area of marketing management. Again, his own cup of tea is brand management. From the Bharatiya University, Coimbatore, it is a continuous, what I observed in him over the last few years of association with him is he keeps himself a student, learning, always learning. He has also studied law from the Ernakulam Law College. He is an accredited management teacher of All India Management Association, AIMA, a certified management consultant, CMC Global of the International Council of Management Consulting Institutes, Zurich, Germany. He is also a certified corporate trainer as an international graduate of the JCI Training Institute, USA. He is deeply involved in the executive level corporate organizations of managers, and he has been the past president of the Kerala Management Association, KMA, and chairman of KMA Education Trust. He has contributed very vigorously in the forefront of the mentoring of next generation managers by sharing his knowledge and experience with peers and students of management in various B schools. He was the chairman of Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, Kerala branch for 2 terms, and currently he is a regional president of the South India for the Indo-American Chamber of of Commerce. Other than AIMA, KMA, and IACC, he is intimately connected with another dozen prominent professional bodies, and he initiated a chapter of one of the most important societies of our country, the Operational Research Society of India, ORSI, in Kochi as its founder president in 2016. He was responsible for founding a chapter branch in Kochi itself when Kochi is growing up like anything at the business front, and he's too good at the analytical modeling of business processes, clubbing with the experience in branding communication. And he's a sought after speaker at the B schools and institutions offering courses on visual media and communication. He's intimately associated with the Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham in different capacities as invited speaker on various management topics of national and international seminars and conferences. He has served many educational institutions and professional bodies. He has published many research papers and articles in business journals and magazines. He was recently conferred the prestigious Fellowship in Management by the All India Management Association Award for his outstanding contributions in the area of management. He has also received the Outstanding Management Teacher Award from the Global Management Teachers Consortium in 2019. And this is a short description of his rich profile. And today he will be discussing mainly on the changing paradigms in brand communication. How can you incorporate these changing paradigms in restructuring our curriculum and syllabi for the communication courses? So on behalf of the Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham University, the Faculty of Arts, Media and Commerce, on behalf of the Coimbatore Headquarters School of Communication, School of Arts and Sciences at Mysore, and School of Arts and Sciences at Kochi, I'm extremely glad to introduce Dr. P. Ravindranath and once again welcome him very heartily to our midst to handle this topic on changing paradigms in brand communication, how it can be related to the curriculum modification with relevance to the NEP 2020, how the industry can contribute towards that. So, but pranams, I request Dr. Ravindranath to take over from me. Namaskar.
Namaskar. Thank you, sir, for that nice introduction, and also for giving me an opportunity to be a presenter in this prestigious FTP program. Now I am getting on with my topic. Can you all see the slide?
Yes, very much.
Yes. So I'm just.
So I will switch off my video and audio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Namaskar,
so I'm just proceeding with my topic.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
See, a lot of changes have happened in the area of marketing. I had been an active practitioner of marketing for the last 35 years. So I can actually, I was able to see these changes during my career. So I am just touching upon the macro level changes in marketing. I'm not going deep into all areas because our time frame is limited. So I'll just discuss the major changes that has happened over years, and I'll conclude with where we are now, and then we will get on to brand communication. So basically, the business and marketing world of today is not the same as it was some years back, some 3 decades back. It is radically different because of major and interlinking societal factors, because consumer behavior is changing. A lot of new opportunities have come up, and technology has really advanced. And there are also a lot of new challenges and new threats. So on this background, we will see the major changes happened in marketing. The industrial world of past was featured by mass production and consumption. We were having all the stores full of inventories, and we were advertising for the products. And of course, when consumers bargain or customers bargain, they were offered liberal discounts. This was a pattern which was going on. But now this is the digital age, which is also the information age. More accurate levels of production, more targeted communications, more relevant pricing, and most of the businesses are carried out on the internet. Also, all these are possible. Production we can control, communication can be more targeted, and of course pricing can also be very relevant. And we also do a lot of business across the globe through the internet. So fast changing technology is responsible for reducing business costs, improving the quality, and increasing the quantity. So basically these are the major changes because of technology. The cost has come down, quality has gone up, and also we are trading on large quantities. So if we really look at the micro level changes, because a lot of decisions now in marketing, they are taken based on various parameters. We look at the market trends, do a lot of market research, and we do analyze market research reports. We make marketing plans, which is actually for short term, but depending on the changes happening in the market, we modify that. We do SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis report is very, very important. We also do a location analysis, where we are marketing and what is the speciality of that location. Then competitive analysis. See, we need to, when we market something, either we have to expand the market or we have to take the share of the competition. So naturally, analyzing the competition is very, very important. Then target market analysis, how our consumers are behaving, what are the specialities of consumers, and of course domestic and international competitors. Now the market is global. We cannot just look at the competition in and around our state or in our country or in the neighborhood, because anybody can market their products anywhere in the globe. So the competition has really become global. Then of course price analysis, because pricing is also very, very important, because nowadays the consumers are highly price sensitive, and they can actually get a lot of data through the net, so they can do comparison, which was not possible in the past. Now another major change which has happened is globalization. As I told you, we can manufacture anything anywhere and market it anywhere in the world. That is the scenario now. The local and national markets are turned into global markets. There is no local market or national market. Everything is our market, that is global markets. Companies are able to market their products and services in any country at the best prices and best quality, and also in required quantities. This is possible because of the revolutionary changes that has happened in the area of transportation, shipping and communication. Actually, luxuries of the past have become comforts and necessities in the present, because many of these things were actually luxuries in the past, but these are actually essential things presently. Even take the case of a mobile phone. But when it was introduced in Kerala long back, it was a luxury. But now we cannot operate without a mobile phone. Now the government is also have introduced digital transactions, and it has become a must now. So naturally, without an electronic device like a smartphone, we won't be able to operate in the future. Then deregularization. To take advantage of the international market, many countries have deregularized the industries and commerce with a view to create more and more growth opportunities and higher degree of competitive strengths. So when the regulations are removed, they will be in a position to compete with anybody in the world. Because as I told you, now we are competing globally. More and more foreign companies are engaged in industrial and commercial activities of both goods and services, which were held at bay. This has led to further opening and widening that brings in more foreign capital and latest technology on one hand, and generating gainful employment opportunities, which in turn support the increasing demand and supply conditions. So naturally, more employment opportunities means more income for people and more disposable income. Naturally, it will increase the demand because they have the buying capacity. Naturally, to meet the demand, supply condition is to be improved. Privatization is at its best now. Governments of various countries have realized that it pays to privatize the industrial and commercial sectors of their economies. In India, we have privatized many services and products like banking, airways, roadways, shipping, insurance, power, infrastructural activities, and even defense products. We never expected that the defense manufacturing will be privatized, but in that area also, privatization has happened. Public sector is shrinking for better, and that has led to improved efficiency and profitability, because of course whenever private sector is managing an industry, they will be more focused, and they will be more efficient, and they will end up more profitable. Then customer empowerment. Customers of these days are expecting better quality service and a degree of customization on an increasing scale. They demand convenience as they are a part of the rat race to earn for a decent living, because everybody is running around. We are all on a rat race, and we don't have sufficient time to go for shopping and other things. So naturally, we expect manufacturers to offer good products at a reasonable price and at our doorstep. They perceive lesser real product differences and portray less brand loyalty. See, that is one important area. The brand loyalty is actually coming down. There are various factors for that. One is, of course, there are more players now because competition is more. So more and more brands are coming into the market. So the consumer has an option to choose from. And secondly, brand loyalty also happens with our aging process. So it is actually a kind of relationship with the brand. As we grow old, we will develop an association with the brand. But nowadays, the important phenomenon is in India, 65% of the population is below 35 years of age. So that means we have a young population, and they still have to go a long way to create some kind of association with brands. They are comparatively young, and for them, they have the luxury of having so many brands in the market, so they can choose the one which they like. And they are also exposed to extensive product information from internet and other sources that permit them to shop more intelligently, show greater price sensitivity in searching for value. See, I've seen many people going to a particular shop, asking for price, seeing the product, and they will do the searching there itself. They will look at some other brand. See, another major thing which is happening now is that people are actually going to shops to see the brand or to experience the brand. Then after that, what they do is they buy the brand online, because there is a price difference between what is available offline and online. So most of the youngsters, this is actually from my own research, I have found out, they go to a shop, they will experience the brand, they will look at the brand, they will find out everything, and finally what they do is they will purchase the brand online. So companies are offering individually differentiated products, whether ordered in person or phone or online. So companies are also trying to personalize their interaction with the customer, whether it is the interaction or even the product. Companies are enabling the customers to design their own product specifications on individual requirements. If it is a product which is already available, some slight modification of the product according to their needs, that is actually allowed by many companies. Companies interact with each customer personally, so that there is a possibility of personalizing messages, services, and the relationship, in addition to individualized product designs. So even the product designs, they are willing to make minor modifications. We can order online, but they will make these changes and deliver it at your doorstep. By using smart software and the latest manufacturing equipment, the sales could be increased. Orders are cut to order, hence no unwanted investment on inventories. So now we can actually forecast the demand in advance. Accordingly, we can manufacture things. There won't be any wastage in terms of inventories. So that means that even the manufacturing can be more efficient. Then there is intense competition in the market. Today, brand manufacturers are facing heightened and tougher competition, both from domestic as well as foreign brands, that has resulted in rising promotional costs and shrinking profit margins. And they are also put under pressure by powerful retailers who command limited shelf space and are pushing their own store brands in competition with the national brands. So national brands are not just facing competition from the other national brands or regional brands, they are also facing competition from powerful retail chains, because all these retail chains are bringing their own brands. For example, Reliance, they have their own brand in the shop. Similarly, Big Bazaar, they will put their own brand in the shop, which will be definitely of high quality, because they have their resources to source the best products available in the market, and they will pack it and they will put their brand and put it in their store. So that means all the brands are facing stiff competition from the store brands. So these are some of the brands, retail chains who are actually offering their own brands through their outlets. Now there is something called industry convergence. Industry boundaries are getting blurred at an increasingly incredible rate, as companies are recognizing that new opportunities are at the intersection of two or more industries. In the past, the companies were operating only in the core area of competence or core areas of competence. Now it is not like that. Pharmaceutical companies of past were purely chemical companies. They were manufacturing chemicals as medicines, and they were marketing it. Now they have been adding closely allied lines for taking full advantage of the synergy. They are adding biogenetic research capacities in order to formulate new drugs, new cosmetics. There is a branch called cosmeceuticals, and a new food items, that is nutraceuticals. So they are actually adding these areas to their production, and pharma companies are also getting into cosmetics and also food items. It is not a surprise when cosmetic company adds dermatology drugs to its portfolio, because they are closely linked, because it is going to the same consumer for the same for the same need of the consumer. So that means they are looking at other products from other categories and manufacturing them. Now, there is a lot of changes in the retail outlets also. Small retailers are now having a do or die situation because of the powerful giant retailers, both from home and abroad. We have retail chains in India, and many foreign chains are coming to India, because this being a very big market, I think they are opening up in India. Initially, they will be opening up in cities, and gradually they will be spreading their wings. These store-based retailers are facing, they are not just facing competition from these retail chains, they are also facing competition from catalog houses, direct marketing firms, TV direct to consumer ads. There are many TV channels which are directly selling products. There is a number, toll-free number, which you can call, and the product will be delivered at your doorstep. Then home shopping TV, and also of course e-commerce. So these are the competitors they have to tackle. Now, in response, these entrepreneurial retailers are building entertainment into their stores. So this small retail outlets, they are facing this competition, and now they are actually building some kind of entertainment into their outlets with coffee bars, lectures, demonstrations, and performances. That is, they are making an experience than a product assortment. This is something called experiential marketing. So the customer can directly link the experience they are getting from the retail outlet to the brand. They can associate that experience with the brand. See, for example, there are coffee shops inside the bookshops. In major cities, I have found this. You can have a coffee and maybe go through some of the books which are available there for reading. You can actually spend some time there in the bookshop. You can read some books. Then of course, you can purchase some books. There will be some other gift items also will be there. You can actually purchase that. And many book launches are now happening inside the bookshop. So important dignitaries will be invited. Bookshop, inside the bookshop, you will have a place to launch the book, the new book which you have written. And all your important guests can be invited there, and they will create an experience. And during this process, shopping will also happen. So almost all the small retail outlets, they are looking at some kind of experience sharing, or they are looking at some kind of experiential marketing through their outlets. Now, disintermediation, that is another change which is coming into, which has come into marketing. The success of the established online companies, Amazon, Flipkart, Alibaba, and the like, is quite amazing. They are known for creating disintermediation in the delivery of products and services. There is no intermediary between the website, e-commerce site, and the customer. They are becoming a terror in the hearts of many established manufacturers and retailers. So in response to this disintermediation, good many traditional companies engaged in re-intermediation and became what is called as a brick and click model. So they will have online portal, through that we can, using e-commerce, they are selling the product, and they will also have the retail outlet in major cities, just for the customers to experience a brand. If they want, they can buy the brand from there, or they can even go to the e-commerce site and buy it there. So that is actually called the brick and click model of business. So in a situation which has undergone a thorough change, the marketers have to be very agile and alert, and take steps forward only on confirming that it is safer and profitable to do so. So unlike in the past, now a marketeer, a manufacturer and a marketeer, they have to look at various factors which are important in the market before actually getting into the marketing exercise. And another important thing is there is convergence of marketing and communication because of the digital platform. So marketing communication, which is actually the brand communication that is happening in the digital media, and at the same place you are making the product also available. You can marketing is also happening. You can actually purchase the brand from the from online, and it will be delivered at your doorstep. Then these are some of the tech predictions for 2021, that is for this year. As we were all going through a pandemic situation, a lot of changes have happened in the market. So these are some of the important aspects which are going to come. Innovation beyond the limits. The year 2021 will observe accelerated efforts in the adoption of new age technologies. So technology is advancing very fast. We have seen that even a vaccine, usually a vaccine is developed in the course of 7 to 8 years. Now, within an year, so many vaccines are out in the market. We don't know the success rate of these vaccines, but because of the particular situation, that made the researchers do more work, more intelligent work, and bring out some vaccines into the market. So like that, technology will advance in all the areas. So R&D is doing an exceptional job from 2021 onwards. Then operate from anywhere. Hybrid office environments will become common, along with technologies that support distributed workforces. I know many companies even now they are working from home. So that I read a small write-up of the international CEO of Hindustan Lever. He was saying that in future he is looking at a hybrid model. So there will be people who will be working from home, and there will be some people working from office, and some of them will be partly working from office and partly working from home. So everything is going to change. And another important area is digital transformation will be essential. It is not optional. So you have to learn digital transactions and other digital needs, whatever it is, whether it is doing banking or making payments or filling up some forms or applying for something. So everything is going to be digital, and it will be very fast. So we are getting onto digital now. It is already there. Now, let me look at new trends in brand communication, because this is very closely linked to marketing, because in marketing there are 4 factors which are controlling the marketing, which is known as marketing mix. That is price, product price, promotion, and of course the place or the distribution channel. So we have actually broadly looked at all these aspects, but brand communication comes under promotion, under marketing mix. So that is why I was talking so much about marketing. First, let us look at internet TV campaigns. See, interruptive phone calls and mass emails have become ineffective. See, now you get a phone call from somebody for direct marketing. Whatever they try to say, the other person, if he or she is not interested, they will cut the phone, or they will say that I am in a meeting, you call me later. So nothing will happen. Similarly, marketing teams are turning their attention to digital marketing. So now digital platforms are there where you can focus, and marketing can happen. Expensive television ads are replaced with internet campaigns, which are done at a much lower cost. So we used to have a lot of TV ads in various channels. Now this digital in the internet television ads are there, because they create visual ads for the digital media, that is actually called internet campaigns. So that is very, very effective. And the advantage is that if you are using TV as a channel, you have to go for 20-second or 30-second TV ads. But where in the case of internet, you can have a 1 minute video or maybe 2 minutes video. Only thing is that it should be interesting. Those who are getting the video, they should see it fully. So the marketing can easily happen through internet video. Then mobile friendly websites have become more imperative. See, websites have to be mobile friendly, because some now everybody is making their websites mobile friendly, so anybody can find out the information from their mobile phone, smartphone, and this will also help them in marketing their products well. Then I don't have to tell you about the importance of social media. The rise of social media and the internet has leveled the playing field. So social media has become an essential component of your marketing plan. Virtually anyone can effectively market on social media at a very low cost. That is advantage. Social media communications must be continuous, holidays and weekends included. So that means you are available there 24/7. They can, and of course the customers will also expect immediate responses for their inquiries. So that means if you are active in social media, there should be somebody who will be able to respond to the queries of customers immediately. Then online reviews. This is also becoming very, very popular. Online reviews are very influential and can make or break a company. There was a study conducted, and it was discovered that consumers reach out to social media to compliment a brand more than to criticize it. So they are getting onto social media to compliment a brand rather than criticize it. So you may find a lot of criticisms in social media, but I think it is only a limited number. Most people will be there to compliment a brand. Reviews benefit the company and the customers. Reviews give customers a chance to see the opinions of others and also give the company instant feedback. See, that means see the most effective communication is actually a testimonial. There is some disturbance in the system. Am
Sir,
I
you can
audible?
continue.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. See, positive reviews of a brand is very effective in marketing the brand. So by seeing the positive opinions of others, people may go for a brand uh, immediately. Not only that, a company will also get some kind of feedback immediately if they are available online in social media. Some people they like something, they dislike something, they will put their opinions there. So naturally, company can also do the course correction. Video is actually gaining popularity in marketing. I already told you. The reason being, nearly 3/4 of us are visual learners. We would rather watch than read. So basically, we would like to see something, watch something, and understand something rather than reading something. That is the basic nature of human being. So video has claimed almost 80% of all web traffic in 2020. So 80% of the web traffic in last year in 2020 was basically video. And there is also another reason, because of the pandemic situation, people were operating their smartphones more frequently and they were exchanging videos. And I think that trend is going to continue. It has only speeded up these processes. Customers often share videos on social media. Today, smartphones can show professional quality videos, making video much more accessible. See, major advantage with the current smartphones available in the market is that you can easily shoot video with the smartphone, and you get high quality video, and transferring that video to another group is also very easy. it is easily possible. You can shoot anything and you can actually transfer that to your friends and um, others, which will actually help in marketing a product or a service or an idea. See, I have seen, during the last Christmas, I have seen many people advertising Christmas cakes through video. They were actually shooting the video of cakes they have made, and they were putting audio also into that video, explaining how it is made, how it is prepared, what is the pricing, how it can be made available. All that was done, and many people, they have got excellent sales during the Christmas season. And in fact, I know two of them personally, and they have made a lot of money only by taking video using their mobile phones, and they were marketing it in their groups, WhatsApp groups, and they got enough orders, and that gave them a lot of revenue during that season, Christmas New Year season. Then analytics is an important area which is becoming very, very useful these days. Companies which do maximum advertising were once the companies that thrived. Now having targeted content is a key. Traditional online ads where one ad is used for all viewers are less effective. See, in the past, we were creating an ad which is actually meant for the masses. We will identify the target audience and we will create a communication for the entire mass. Now it is different because depending on the minor differences in the target audience or in some groups, because there are various segments in the market, depending on the differences in these segments, we can actually create different brand communication. Companies focus on bringing the best targeted content to its specific audiences. Web analytics instantly reports the results of marketing campaigns. So by using web analytics, you can actually find out the reach of your campaign, the response to your campaign, and of course you can fine tune the strategy using the web analytics. And in one research article, I read that not using analytics is like shooting in the dark. So now analytics is becoming very, very important. So Internet Live Stats, part of real-time statistics project, reports over 6 billion searches occur daily across the globe, with over 77% of them on Google. So there are 6 billion searches are happening daily in the internet, and 77% of those searches are happening on Google. Google actually is processing over 40,000 search queries every second. In every second, Google is getting 40,000 search queries, and Google is processing it. So search engine optimization, or optimizing a website so that it appears towards the top of the results, is essential. So this is another area of importance, search engine optimization. Viewers really scroll past the first results page. Whenever we search something, we get Google results. There it will be running into a couple of pages, at least to 10 or 15 pages, even more than that. Generally, we have a tendency to see the results in the first page, and maybe we will go to the second page. That's all. From that, we will do the searching. We will find out what it is, and we will conclude our searching there. So that means unless and until your brand occupies a place in the first page or second page, it is very rarely it is going to be noticed by customer. So that means search engine optimization is impossible, and it has to be done regularly. Videos, links, FAQs, and blog posts are tactics which improve the website's search engine optimization. Surprisingly, long articles are favored over short articles. Increasingly, journalists work in marketing departments rather than at traditional and declining news outlets. See, news outlets, it is becoming stagnant now. Even reporting of news is different nowadays because somebody is going to the site and they are reporting it from there. And if they are trying to, they will interview so many people. Even the news reporting, there is a lot of difference. And marketing, working as a reporter in the marketing department, it is more challenging. And many people are actually preferring jobs in journalists are preferring jobs in marketing departments than the traditional news outlets. Then public image and charity. Public image is significant in today's world. Charity gives companies a positive image while benefiting the community. See, of course, many companies are doing a lot of activities under charity. Of course, this is actually a great social service, and but the new generation of customers, if they find a company which is doing a lot of charity, they usually prefer the products of that particular company. So this is a new trend which is developing. The work of the work the charity does is often related to the company's work because they connect this charity work as company's work, because company is actually doing a lot of activities in the society for the benefit of the society, so that the brand's company market will get the benefit out of it. Hence, corporate communication on CSR activities is very, very critical. So corporate communication is another important area we need to look at. uh, it is an exciting time for marketing. The industry is fast paced and often times challenging. The most effective marketing strategies today will change as technology and buyers continue to evolve. So technology is evolving, buyers are also evolving, that is our consumers. So naturally the marketing will also undergo a lot of changes. Accordingly, we need to fine tune our strategies. The premise is to create a closer bond between the consumer and the brand by immersing them in a fun and memorable experience. So that is very important. Giving an experience to the customer is very, very important, because naturally the customer will connect that experience to the brand. If a brand even stirs um, genuine positive emotions within people, then they are more likely to associate those emotions with that brand, which is more effective than just showing them a Facebook ad or something. So if you can create some positive association with the brand, that is more important than giving an ad. Media neutrality is another important area. Media neutrality essentially means a neutral approach to communication channel planning. See, we can actually use TV as the communication channel, or newspaper as a communication channel, or a magazine as a communication channel, or outdoor hoarding as a communication channel. So there are, or social media as a communication channel, or an event as a communication channel. The neutral approach is the means by which the brands reach the consumers. That is not just working across traditional advertising routes in an unbiased way. So we can actually use the traditional advertising routes as well as the new routes which are available. That is the digital media. It also means using alternatives such as PR, direct mail, content management, sales promotion, or even live events. So actually you can, depending on the requirements of the brand, or depending on the consumers, or depending on the competition, you have to select the right communication tool for the brand. You need not go for print media or TV media, because that is going to give, we have a belief that that is going to give more exposure for the brand. Not only that, the advertising agencies which are actually doing these campaigns, they will benefit more by way of commission, but those days are gone. Nowadays it is possible because the remuneration pattern in brand communication industry is a fee based system now. So now if we go on TV or print or any other media, we agencies are not just getting 15% commission. Either they will be working on a retainer fee, that is a monthly consultancy fee, or they may be getting a fixed commission on this media. Usually it is 2.5%, but we used to get 15% media commission in the past. Now it is all gone. You are getting a fixed commission on media, 2.5%, and you are also paid a consultancy fee. So you can be easily media neutral. One, for the benefit of the brand. Second, for the benefit of the agency also, because just by using print or TV, those expensive media channels, you are not going to earn more. So you have to really look at the brand, and then you should recommend neutral channels for the media. Both online and offline marketing are used in tandem to create a truly remarkable impact. Brand managers combine online marketing efforts with offline instruments by promoting social media pages and website offline. So they can actually promote social media pages and website URL offline. They can actually publish in, they can promote these things in print media or TV media, so that, or even outdoor, so that more people, because everybody has got smartphone, they can log into the net, and they can actually access your website and find out more details. They integrate these pages to their branding materials, including packaging and store decoration. So they do integration their online activities with the branding materials, including packaging and store decoration. So there is an integration everywhere. So they also add social media URLs to flyers and offline promotional materials to gain more traction. Now, as I told you, digital advertising is very, very important, and it is very critical now. Day by day, the share of digital advertising is going up. So I will just look at the new trends in this area also. So there are so many methods: video viral, social media. You can use blog, websites, online promotion, emails, search engine optimization. The advantage is that the return on investment on digital marketing, it is easy to find out. See, suppose you are spending so much, you are getting so many calls. You can identify whether it is from social media or from website or from your e-commerce site, that you can easily identify. So how much money you are spending, how many, you are only paying for the click. Somebody is clicking on your advertisement, they are taken to the website or to your social media. From there, if they are purchasing, you can directly link that business to your that expenditure for that particular click. So it is very easy to calculate the return on investment in the case of digital marketing. There are so many ways by which you can actually it can be increased. And as I told you, digital is growing. Significant changes to the media landscape is driven by the continued impact and rise of digital. The amount of consumer data generated is on the rise, making marketers' job both easier in some ways and yet harder in others. So actually, there are this, as I told you, web analytics is there, and using that, getting a lot of consumer data, it is easy, and it can be effectively used for marketing the brand. But of course, in certain areas, it will also give you a lot of difficulties. Informative websites and social media. You can, these are some of the popular social media outlets now. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Google search are increasingly used for brand promotion. Digital media has an edge in the case of new generation. See, for example, Generation Y, Generation X is also using a lot of social media now. Generation X is people above 35 years, and Generation Y and Generation Z, that is the generation which has to come after Generation Y. They are very familiar with social media and all the smartphones, net, e-commerce, everything. The small children, they are very familiar with all these things. So that means in future we are gradually shifting to that particular area. We are more into digital marketing in future. It is a responsibility of digital communication experts to unlock the potential of this area and turn insights into meaningful actions. So if you put a recipe in a particular site, you will get a lot of response immediately. Some people may try it, they may like it, or some people will come out with some new suggestions, all that. Then 2/3 of brands are now actively reorganizing their internal marketing operating models to better equip them for the digital future. So about 2/3 brands are working globally to make it more digital, their communication more digital. Others are actually, other 1/3, they are looking at this as a short-term plan. So another important thing is that chief marketing officers of many brands, they continue in a particular post for 3 to 4 years. So they will only look at the short-term expectations of the company. So they will work accordingly, and they will create some, they will achieve the targets in that short term, take benefit out of the company, and they move out. They won't stay back in a company. They are moving to a new company. That is a current trend. See, this makes strategic long-term brand building more difficult. So that means for any brand to do a long-term strategic plan, it is very, very difficult because their marketing heads are there only for 3 to 4 years. That is a current trend. Now, if you really look at this graph, you will find that digital ad spending, it is on the rise. In 2018, 45.9% of the total media spend was on digital. It increased to 50.1% in 2019, and it is going up to 53.6% in 2020. So gradually it is going up. 2020, it was 384 billion US dollars. And if you really look at the global digital advertising spend by region, you will find that North America is leading. They are spending about 210 billion US dollars. Second is Asia Pacific, 195.5 billion US dollars. And India is also a part of that Asia Pacific region. And third is Western Europe, which is 106.3 billion US dollars. So basically, digital is more penetrating into North America, Asia Pacific region, and Western Europe. These are all the important markets. And of course, Australia is also there, then Japan, all the leading economies are part of this. Then these are the three factors contributing to the rise of global digital advertising. One is, of course, the rise in internet usage. Internet usage growth in 2000 to 2019 is 1,157%. That was a growth in the last 2 decades. Then spike in mobile ad spend. Mobile ad spend is also increasing. In 2020, the total mobile ad spend was about $286 billion. And social media popularity is also going up. And in 2018, we had 3.48 billion social media users. So these are the latest figures I could get, and it is going up. And you have so many options in digital media. Search engine optimization and content, email referral, social referral, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, blog, reviews, affiliate, online retarget, online display ads. There are so many options available. And in addition to that, you have got the traditional media also. I'm not saying that we should only go to digital media. We should use digital media judiciously along with traditional media. Then that will give us the results. Now coming to the most important part of my presentation, brand communication, structuring the curriculum. So now you have seen the changes which has happened in marketing and also brand communication. What are the changes in the last couple of decades, and also what are the expected changes that I have already taken you through. See, marketing analytics is an important area. Basically collecting customer information, financial data, campaign performance, that is analysis of how the campaign is performing, customer behavior, customer feedback, then market research. These are all important areas under marketing analytics. Then big data is an important area. So much of data is created by our customers when they do the transactions, and these data can be easily used by the marketing people to market the brands. and of course integrated marketing communication. We have to use traditional marketing methods, traditional media, traditional communication methods. And we should also look at promotions and also new media, web-based media, that is social media, all that as a combination. I think we have to use it as an integrated marketing communication model. Then media neutrality is also very important. We should not be biased to a particular media. We should not be looking at TV only. We should not be looking at print only. We should not be looking at digital only. So it should be a neutral solution for the brand. Brand is more important than the media. Now, where to focus in the curriculum? So, considering all this, we need to refocus our curriculum. Those who study brand communication should have a strong foundation in marketing and also digital marketing. Basic knowledge on marketing analytics and strategic planning is also important, because I had been taking papers in Amrita. Of course, we are giving importance to some of these areas, but I think when we revise our syllabus, I think we should give focus to these areas. Then integrated marketing communication should be taught in detail with the equal importance to different forms of communication. Now, I think more importance is given to advertising. We are teaching them on copywriting, graphic designing, everything we are teaching them. But I think how to apply these things in different by using different marketing tools, how we can integrate marketing communication, how these techniques can be used for different media and different tools. That is very important. So integrated marketing communication should be taught in detail. Then digital communication is gaining importance day by day, and there should be adequate importance for digital communication in the curriculum. Then brand communication strategy is developed with the help of consumer insights. So consumer insights are very, very important, and that is how we develop the brand communication. Hence, research methodology and different types of research methods should find a place in the curriculum. See, in advertising and brand communication, we mostly use qualitative research, not quantitative research. Quantitative research is actually more meant for sales and marketing. But I think different research methods our students should use in finding out more information about the consumers. Of course, a lot of research data is available, but still, when we do the research directly, it makes a lot of difference. If we can interact with customers, collect their feedback, or if we can interact with the trade and get this information, I think that will be more useful for the brand communication. So research methodology and different types of research that should be taught in detail. Digital data of consumers is used for the effective marketing and brand communication. So data analytics is an important area. Similarly, media neutrality is important in developing the communication plan. Hence, it is important to know advantages and disadvantages of different types of media. So we have got different media options, and I think students should be taught about advantages as well as disadvantages of different types of media, so that they can select, they can be more media neutral. They will look at the brand, they will look at the consumer, look at the competition, and then they decide which media to use for brand communication. Then of course some general skills are required for a brand communication professional. First of all, in brand communication, we are operating as consultants to various marketing companies and manufacturing companies. So business consultancy skills should be very high for people who are working in this area. Then effective communication skills. See, basically we are into brand communication. So naturally, anybody who is handling brand communication should be having excellent communication skills. So by effective communication skills, I mean good writing skills, good speaking skills, and also good understanding, that good listening skills. Communication involves everything. You have to be a good listener, you have to be a good writer, you have to be a good speaker. So I think entire gamut of communication skills should be developed. Then creative and media brief writing skills. This is important because even though it is not included in the syllabus, usually when I take my students through my class, I usually brief them on these areas, how to write a good creative brief. I think that is also important. We should educate our students to write a good creative brief. Then brand strategy, media strategy, brand communication strategy, proposal writing skills. These are all important. How a brand strategy could be developed, how a media strategy could be developed, how a brand communication strategy can be planned, how to give a proposal to a client. These are all important. Then strategy and creative development and presentation skills. See, an advertising professional or a brand communication professional should be an excellent presenter, because basically we are developing ideas, we are developing copy, we are developing visuals, and we are selling those ideas to our clients. So that means we have to present them properly to our clients, then only that will happen. So presentation skills, it is very, very important. Of course, it is coming under effective communication skills, but presentation skill and communication skills, it is different. When you present a creative, it has to be presented properly. I think these areas we should fine tune. Now there are many creative people who can do both art and copy. Now I have seen many people who writes copy, many people who can write copy and also do the art direction. So there should be some courses by which they can give some extra courses on copy. If a person is taking art as a specialization, they should be given, if they are interested, they could be given some additional courses on copy. Similarly, strategy and creative. I have seen many people, they can write good strategy and they can convert the strategy into good creative solutions. That is good brand communication solutions. So I think they should be given opportunity to look at both. So such talents should be developed by offering them additional courses to hone their skills. I think that is it. That I'm through with my presentation. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. I am happy to.
Thank you, sir. The session is open for interaction. Participants can use the raise hand option in Teams, and please do mention your name and institution. Any questions?
See, I think whatever I have covered, which are all known to all of you, because all of us, we are all faculty members. So we are all seeing what is happening in marketing, what is happening in brand communication. Only thing, I have put everything together in an organized manner. And whatever I could deliver in this short span of time, I have done that. So it is okay if you don't have any serious doubts. That means you could understand what I have conveyed.
Mishwaya said, this is Vinod Lakshman.
Yeah.
Amrita School of Arts and Sciences.
Yeah. Tell me.
Sir, I have not a doubt actually. Can you throw more light on the neutral channels? That is, you had mentioned about recommend neutral channels to students.
Yeah.
Recommend more and more neutral channels.
See,
so can you explain that, please, sir?
See, actually, there is no channel which is called as a neutral channel. The thing is that we have got so many options available. We can look at TV medium as a channel. We can use. We can also look at print media, that is newspapers and magazines, as a channel. We can use outdoor. You can actually look at outdoor as a channel, or some kind of an event as a channel, or mobile phone as a channel. So I think we have to really look at which channel is good for your brand. We should take that channel. That will be the media neutral channel. We should not be biased in selecting a particular channel. That is what I meant by media neutrality. See, for example, some people, they like to do TV ads. So that means whatever proposal comes to the client from that particular creative group or agency will be more TV led, because they will be suggesting TV ads for all their brands. Similarly, another agency, if they like print ads more, they will suggest print ads. So what I'm trying to say is that we should not be biased like that. we should look at the brand, the competition of brands, and also the consumer of various brands, and then we should decide which media is ideal for them, and we should go to that media. That is what media neutrality is called. That is. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Hope
So
I have
yeah. The brand with respect to the target audience,
Yeah.
with respect to their consumer behavior, with
Yeah,
respect to the right kind of channel. Right,
Yeah,
sir?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You're
That is
right.
very clear, sir. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Any other questions?
See, I had been talking to you more from the practical side of brand communication because I am a practitioner. And of course, I am also involved in academics. So I have tried to connect both brand communication in practice and brand communication in education. That is what I try to do. So I am a part of Amrita only. So those who are there in Amrita can contact me anytime with regard to any of your doubts or questions. Others, I think you can give my email ID. Because of time constraint, I am telling this because other next speaker has to come in. So if you have no questions, thank you so much for your patient listening.